Welcome back from the break. This is KTN Life and Style Inspiration Monday, and today on Perspectives, we are talking about depression, especially amongst the youth, because now it seems to be more out there. I'm sure before it was there, but now it's like a thing because people are now committing suicide in public. But let us know what you feel on the hashtag KTN Life and Style. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Mugure Gaduru. And I'm here with the boy child. You have been well represented, the first half of the show. And we are talking about depression. So what exactly are the signs that someone should look out for when it comes to depression? Even amongst the women. Women also go through depression, especially through pregnancy. I didn't even know there was a thing where I always knew about postpartum after, where you don't even want to see your child. I have a friend who went through that, and the parents ended up taking care of the baby because she couldn't even stand her kid. So I also just recently found out, when I experienced it myself, that there's also pre. Yes, when you're still pregnant and you're just there like, should I really give birth? Should I? What will happen and stuff? So what are signs you should look out for? And you as the boy child, actually, let's say if you had a girlfriend or a wife, would you notice that they were going through depression?
I think one of the signs of depression is lack of interest in activities one used to enjoy. For example, you loved, these, normal activities, including your work. Some people love their job so much, and then all of a sudden somebody has no interest at all. And then these prolonged moods and sadness. This you are sad for a very long time. Then also it's also either oversleeping or lack of sleep. You can check on that if you've been oversleeping, or you are actually suffering from insomnia, lack of sleep. It's one sign. Another thing is loss of appetite, and this is not now where you're not dieting you're not dieting, so
fasting.
or fasting, so you don't have appetite for food. Or some other people, you are overeating, where you are eating like there is no tomorrow. That's another side. Another sign is sometimes being irritable. Being very irritable because of a small thing. You get so irritable. So those are some of the things. And then now also suicidal thoughts. Having suicidal thoughts, thoughts of hopelessness, where you like, I think there is nothing good about me. Yet, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, or a month ago, you are really upbeat and knowing this is, you're going to conquer the world, and all of a sudden you feel hopeless. And now this is a prolonged kind of, behavior. I said 2 weeks. For 2 weeks you feel like that, please go get checked. Those are signs.
Brian, what do you think are some of the signs of depression?
I think he's mentioned most of them. And being a person who hasn't suffered depression per se, I wouldn't comment on much, but I have had friends. I've had a friend who just recently passed away over depression. And one of the reasons, or one of the things I noticed from him per se was the way he's mentioned, like lack of interest. You're interested in a certain thing, but it reaches a point, it's like you don't even care. It's like whatever happens, let it happen. You see, that kind of mentality. It's something that needs to be checked. Another thing is, I think, the idea of one person or a person being so low with everything. You see, as in, we are watching a comical movie per se, but you're there, you're not even cracking, you're not even smiling, you see, I think these are some of the signs that would ring bells for anybody who's out there, but probably is best placed to tell us.
I am not best placed to tell you. No, remember when I was going through it, I was still a layman. That means I know nothing. I can just know what I went through, right? Which is what you've described, lack of interest in doing anything. At some point, my job, which I love so much, felt like a chore, right? So it is, when you're, for me, the way I'd simplify it without being repetitive is just, you feel yourself deviating from your norm. Like you no longer have the motivation to wake up and do anything. That's your first sign.
There are guys also who isolate themselves. Or you become over social, you become for you to hide. because of personalities, there are guys who isolate themselves, especially those guys who are introverts. You now over-isolate where you don't want anyone near you. You want to stay alone. You don't want anything. And there are guys now who overdo it. They are like, you over-socialize. You are here, you are there. You are putting a face and it's a mask. You are this. You are so happy.
And people can see that.
Laughing, and laughing uncontrollably. Yeah. But it's a mask. When you see, if you see somebody, who that has not been like that, and then all of a sudden they have,
it's also a sign.
It's a sign.
Eugene, did you feel like you got enough support, or when you were going through it, you felt like no one was noticing around you, your friends, like no one was there for you?
Yeah, I did feel that way, but to be fair, I didn't let anyone know I was going through it in the first place. I did keep to myself a lot. I did not let anyone know what was happening until, the big S word. So I didn't let anyone know what was going on until it happened, right? So, and even when it happened, when I went public with what I tried to do, it was on Instagram. The video is still up to this day. I went public for the first time with what I tried to say, with saying that I tried to take my own life. I went public online, which is the first time I actually said it to myself, that I tried to take my own life. So, right, being in this line of work, I love reporting here and there, just covering stories here and there. Sometimes it takes you to not nice places, war zones, or just places with conflict here and there. Kind of gets to you. So for me, did I notice my slip down that road? No, I didn't. But I did get help, which is the first thing. That the priority will always to be leading somebody to get help. Every intention, every action you take from the moment you find out someone close to you, or every action you do from here on out should be actively to getting help. Right? That's
because I think, before the idea of you coming out and saying that I have a problem, I have this problem, I think that's the first step to walk out of depression, because you have to be within yourself. You have to realize that, yes, I have a problem. Yeah. And how will I solve this problem? So once that happens, it's when you can say that fully, I'm on the road to recovery. But if you're still in denial, because most people are in denial, whereby you feel this way, but you don't want to admit it to yourself, not to anybody else, to yourself first, that, hey, bells are ringing, something is not right. Yeah.
Do you think that people actually understand, or people just don't care? Because you find very many cases of late where people go online and actually put it out there and actually write statuses and say things like, thank you for being there and blah, blah, blah. Or even there's another guy, I think it was sometime last year, who said he was going to take away his own life. And then now when you go through the comments, there was no one encouraging him at all. Everyone was like, Suruke, Sujue. So do you think people actually understand, or they just don't care, or they just don't take it seriously?
People don't take it seriously until it's at their doorstep. When it's you, that's when you care. So it's both. People don't know what's happening. People don't know that this is something serious because it's going from one person to the other. Now university students, it's rampant there. So I think it's a scenario of both. You don't know, thus you don't care, because it's not affecting you directly. It has nothing to do with you.
And then I think also there is a lot of stigma when it comes to issues to do with mental health disorders and diseases, where people associate this thing with some sort of madness. You are nuts, you guy. What's up with you? What's wrong with you? These things. I mean, so there is that, and also people not taking mental health seriously in a way. For example, if somebody came online and said, "Oh, guys, I was diagnosed with cancer or tuberculosis," or people would comment, I'm in hospital, I have pneumonia also. But somebody says, "Guys, I am depressed," you'd be like,
people are there shaming you.
What's wrong with you? Nini is depressed, and sometimes people who are depressed actually have, they look okay. Yeah. They are not living in poverty. So people associate, with associate depression with different things, you know. But for me, I think anyone can, this thing can get anyone, irrespective of your organ. Yeah.
So it's not a genetic thing.
Yeah, American Psychiatric Association, say 1 in 6 people, 1 in 6 people will suffer from depression in life, and then yearly 1 in 15 people will also suffer from depression. So you look at that. For example, 1 in 6. For example, how many are we here? At least 1 person in 6 will yeah. So it's something that we need to come and accept, because mental illness is the same as physical illness. The way somebody says, you know, I have a problem with my joint or my leg, or I have a headache, is the same. We need to have a mental paradigm shift about mental illness, because that's how we are going to resolve this issue. The moment we keep, you know, looking at it as a different kind of an illness, the more, and you see right now in the country, it became so rampant until now, even the state decided, hey, this thing is becoming serious. We need to start helping people. We need to start seeing what we can do. And now the approach is the most important. How you approach it, how you put structures in place, because now there are no structures. We need to have structures on how we deal with mental health. The other day the UK had a minister for depression. I don't know whether you guys saw that. They appoint, because it's a serious thing in the UK. I mean, they see people are suffering. We need to have, you know, proper structures where we don't judge, because the other thing is judgment. Judge people who come out and say, you know what, I feel like dying. You know what, I feel like committing suicide. You know what, I'm so depressed, I feel so hopeless. We need to be empathetic and know that, you know, it can also happen to you or to your family member or to somebody you know. So let us not, you know, shame these people and ignore them, and you know, some even go joking, you know, I'll buy you a rope.
Yeah,
you know, and I'll give you that rat. Come.
Those are the comments that are normally on social media.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good at all. Let us. I have personally have had people who've come to me on social media. They told me, Steve, I'm in a bad place. They inbox me, and for me, I don't do counseling, but I have counselors, people who are counselors, very qualified counselors, who have gone ahead and helped them. So let us be empathetic. Let us not, you know. And then this is not the time also to put somebody down, you know, because there are people who now take advantage. This guy is down and you have a beef with them, and this is when now you start, you know, telling them, you know, where this is not the time. This is the time to, you know, empathize. Let this person go through the motion and heal, and then you can solve your beef after that.
You know, what goes in line with the part of the stigma you said, it takes the stigma part, takes us right back to where the law is. Because if you're not reporting, of course the stigma stays, right? That's the first part. Takes us right back to the step 1, which means anything else you try can't happen because nobody's reporting.
And you know, we're just talking about the law, but go back to our African society, back in the day, like from where I'm from, western part of Kenya, you find that if you commit suicide, according to the traditional African way is that if you commit suicide, you won't have a proper funeral. They have really contributed to the kind of stigma we are talking about. Besides the law, yes, the law had a foundation. The foundation of the law was that in the traditional African setup, it was wrong for you to take your life. And it was deemed wrong by this way. If you die, if you take your own life, these are the consequences. So the law was written around that. But we are in a new era. We are in a new dispensation. We are in a new generation, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You see, so many people are emotionally aware. We are living in the age of social media, whereby Uganda, South Africa, it's just a click away. You can go to South Africa on your phone. You can go to America on your phone. So it's easy to see and relate to so many people, who are people who are miles away, and relate to their problems and tend to make your problems look bigger and escalate them even further by this aspect alone. So I think it's something that we should consider as a society, as the kind of leadership we put in place, because that is very key. The kind of leadership, which leader are you putting there? Do we have leaders who have a know-how of depression? We have, I remember some time back, there was a minister, was it a minister of finance or minister of what? The son took his own life.
Yeah, I think it was,
If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of leaders we need, because
We need to
they are
speak out.
victims.
They are victims, yeah.
They have gone through that. So they are best placed to come up with laws, to come up with measures, to come up with policies that can regulate this country. But what do we do as a people?
The only leader I know for a fact has single-handedly tried to sponsor the mental health bill, Senator Kasanga. And they have frustrated her all the way, because it's not a priority right now. Mental health is not a priority, yet she's single-handedly fought on the front line in the House. Think about this. The same vigor with which our government goes after tax defaulters is the same vigor you need to serve those people who pay those same taxes, right? You want an educated people, build them schools and shove books in their faces. You want a good, beautiful country, build the roads, make the infrastructure worth looking at. But if you want an actual productive nation, make sure its people are okay up here and in here. Otherwise, all you have is seat fillers. Right.
Because now it's even affecting kids. Like before, it used to be grown-ups. As a child, you wouldn't even know anything like that. I remember even growing up, I used to be told, if you kill yourself, you're going straight to hell. Like, you used to know you're going straight
in fact,
to hell. So you're like, I don't want to go to hell.
You know?
Should it be something that should be taught also in school, so that kids are now aware? Because most kids, actually, there's been so many cases of kids killing themselves because they failed at an exam, they failed KCPE, they hanged themselves.
The other day I saw something very interesting. It was in one of these courses, the books that, you know, the curriculum books that the schools use. And that book was, I saw it on social media, and that book was, it's like it was telling a child, it was giving an option of a child to take away their life. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Even there's a cartoon.
What book is that?
It's been
A course book.
It's a course book that was now, it became a very, when it was found out, the book was actually supposed to be removed from the syllabus. Like it had a question and then answer, and one of the answers was an option to take. Yeah, I was like,
there's even a cartoon that kids like right now. It's called Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
There's one episode they had where the cartoon was killing themselves.
Yeah. So
guys had to even complain, then it was taken out.
So you see, and there's an agenda. There, you know, being a believer, I mean, the enemy thrives in what takes away the dignity of humanity, and of course, killing yourself it takes away the dignity of life. And so the devil has an agenda as well, and he will try to put that agenda even to our kids, because if he takes the kids, I mean, there is no future. So I think also we should, there was a proposal, I saw somebody proposing that mental health should actually be one of the courses taught in schools, where kids are taught about mental health and how do you take care of your mental health, and what are the things you should look out for, because we are living in a society where, as he said, it's a global village. Kids nowadays are able to access internet. They are able to see things. So how do we, help them to not, for example, watch such cartoons or go on YouTube and watch things that tell them, it's okay to take your life. Yeah. So I think that there need to be, I would call it, we should actually try and introduce this to kids and tell them about mental health, because they learn it from somewhere else, and it will be sad if we hear kids now, the rate at which kids are killing themselves has also risen. So I think it will be good if the government tried and see how they can also educate kids on mental health.
Any advice you'd have, Eugene, for the youth out there who are going through depression?
Be kind to yourself. That's it. That sentence alone, be kind to yourself. I repeat that over and over even to people who come to me. Because since I came out, I've used my own number as a suicide hotline. Yes, it's been giving out your number to just complete strangers. But the only thing I tell people first is be kind to yourself, because then you're doing the best you can. Each of us individually is doing the best they can with what you have, what life gave you. You didn't choose where you were born, you didn't choose how your life goes, and some of the situations are no longer in your control. You can't beat yourself up about it, so be kind to yourself. You've done the best you can. Just, it will be hard to just tell you to stay strong, because sometimes there's no strength left. But that's it. Just be kind to yourself.
And if people want to find you, where can they find you? Social media?
Right, on social media, maybe Instagram. Just that's the most. Eugene_Abu Dhabi. That's it. Eugene_Abu Dhabi. That's it. Yeah.
Brian, any last words? Any advice?
First of all, I would want to talk to that person out there who's depressed. This show, I think the purpose of this show was to try and encourage you. You're out there, you're watching, you're depressed. We are out to encourage you. You're not, when you're talking about issues that people face during depression and all that, we're trying to encourage you. See it this way. The good book, I always refer to the good book, the Bible. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 12:25, heaviness in the heart of a man maketh it stoop, but a good one maketh it glad. What do I mean? He said, be kind to yourself, be kind to others too. Because you might meet somebody who's depressed or going through something. So basically what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that the Bible says, my people perish due to lack of knowledge. So knowledge is key, knowledge is power. So get to know stuff. If you're suffering, if you're going through a condition and you don't have a know-how, you don't have to go first of all to a medic or somebody to prescribe that you are depressed or clinically depressed or all that. We have the internet, it's free. Go there, Google symptoms. Ingaji, people say that Googling of symptoms.
You'll find that you were supposed to have been dead yesterday.
Dead yesterday when you Google symptoms. But in a way, it helps because you get to know yourself. You get to, it's like doing a post-mortem of your own self. So please, let's be kind to each other. As much as you're kind to self, let's be kind to each other because that's very key.
Okay, your social media handles?
At Tsuma_Brian on Twitter, Instagram, on Facebook, that's Tsuma Brian. Make sure you watch Zinga La Sporty every day of the week, Monday to Friday, from 1 to 2 p.m. I have to do that, yeah?
That was a smooth
That's fine.
plug. That was very smooth.
Yeah.
Briefly, any last words?
For me, I would encourage anyone to do something we call a self-awareness assessment. This is where you check your behavior in terms of what behaviors are problematic to you, what hinders you from becoming what you want to become. The other thing you need to check is also images. What visions do you see, or what dreams do you have, and how is your self-image? How do you look at life now and in the future? It's just a self-assessment test for self-awareness. And then the other thing also is sensations, like the touch, the smell. Do you have pleasant smells? Do you feel dizzy? Those are some of the things you need to, also do. Ask yourself those questions, and also things to do with cognition. Cognition is beliefs and values and your thoughts. What thoughts are problematic to you? What thoughts do you feel like they make you have negative emotions, and also emotions that come. What emotions do you experience? Sadness, joy. What emotions are problematic to you? Then also your interpersonal relationships. Are there things that you'd want to achieve in your relationship? Do you have expectations from your significant others? Are there relationships that you feel, this relationship, I need to cut it? And then, of course, your health as well. How is your health? Are you a healthy person in terms of your physical health? So these questions will help you. It's just helping you to be self-aware. And if you find that there are questions that there are things that you find they are amiss, then look for help. My name, I'm on Facebook by the name Steve Victor Moshiri, Instagram Steve Victor _Moshiri. Yeah, so you can interact there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to my wonderful panel. This has been a very interesting topic, very critical. And I know most of you at home can relate to what is going on, but I hope you've had advice. You've heard it from someone who's gone through it, a psychologist, and also a very neutral person who has convinced us to read the Bible and it will help. So I hope you feel encouraged there at home where you're sitting. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style. This has been Perspectives, but the show doesn't end. After the break, we still have Catherine Mwangi. So don't go anywhere.